Hello, I'm back with another study hack, and today's episode is all about speaking. So, to improve your speaking, talk in Korean. Thank you. That's a wrap. 수고하셨습니다. I'm just kidding. Sort of. That's the simple version, and it is easier said than done, especially when you're saying it to yourself. Just talk. But that's what the first tip is all about. Talk to yourself. A lot. This is probably the single biggest reason why I've achieved the level of fluency that I have, is because even though I'm really quiet and shy and reserved in front of people, when I'm by myself, I just talk to myself in Korean all the time. And the best thing about talking to yourself is that you don't have to worry about the judgment of others. So you can say whatever you want, as many times as you want, and practice anything that you need to practice without worrying about being incorrect. You may be thinking, but Cassie, how can I improve my speaking if I don't have anyone to correct what I'm saying? Well, to start off with, even if you're with a native speaker, they're probably not going to sit there and correct every single thing that you say incorrectly. But also, think about a baby and how a baby learns. Babies learn from their parents. They listen to what their parents are saying, and then they follow along. And they also self-regulate. And what I mean by self-regulate is when they begin speaking, if they notice that they said something that sounds different than what everyone else around them is saying, they will fix it on their own without coaching. People of all ages have this ability, so if you're studying with varied audio sources, like the ones covered in the previous study hack, then you'll be golden. Just keep talking to yourself, and eventually you'll start to self-regulate too. Tip number 2, record yourself talking. You don't have to do this very frequently. You can do it maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks, but periodically go back and listen to those recordings. Eventually, you'll start to hear the things that you've said incorrectly, and you may even notice that you've already begun self-regulating, and those mistakes are no longer present in your current recordings. Tip number 3, sentence drilling. Whoa, Cassie, this is speaking hacks, not writing hacks. Whoa, Cassie, this is speaking hacks, not writing hacks. Hold on, hear me out. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone with this one. Now do this without a dictionary or any other aids, just write them down as it comes to your mind. This challenges your brain to get into the frame of mind needed for speaking. So then, you can take those sentences and start saying them out loud, but build onto them, make them longer. Bonus points if you can link 2 or more of your sentences together, and bonus points if you can take that, bounce off of it, and start a whole dialogue all by yourself. And since you're talking to yourself and you don't have to worry about anybody's judgment, push yourself. You might be surprised what you can do. Up until now, I've been focusing on how to speak Korean by yourself. But now, for tip number 4, you need to go out there and find a Korean speaker. Now, if there's no one in your area who you can go and meet in person, there are lots of language exchange apps and websites that you can find online, and you can find a language partner there. Now, once you have your language partner, consult the wise words of Nike. Just do it. Don't worry about grammar too much. Don't try to be perfect. So, for example, if you don't know how to conjugate a verb, just say the stem form of it. For example, 오늘 아침 먹다 is easier to understand than 오늘 아침... how do you conjugate the past tense form of 먹다? Right? It breaks the flow of conversation. So if you say 오늘 아침 먹다, then the native speaker can say 오늘 아침 먹었어요? And then you automatically learn that the past tense conjugation is 먹었다. 먹었어요, right? The 5th and final tip is shadowing. So while watching your favorite Korean TV program or listening to your favorite Korean podcast, follow along, mimic them, and pay particular attention to their intonation and pronunciation.
대여점이
대여점이
할수 있는 곳이죠?
주로 뭐 할 수 있는 것이죠? 빌릴 수 있는 것이죠.
빌린다는 뜻인데요.
빌린다는 뜻이에요. And if you're watching a TV show, pay particular attention to their mouths. One thing many bilingual or multilingual people do almost subconsciously is instead of looking people in the eyes when they talk to them, they look to them in the mouth. Sounds silly, right? The reason for this is by watching the mouths of native speakers, we can see the shapes that their mouths make and how that changes the pronunciation. So, in that way, we can automatically mimic it and kind of pick up the pronunciation without trying quite so hard. A great tool for practicing shadowing is YouTube. YouTube actually has settings where you can change the speed of the video that you're watching. So you can pick your favorite Korean YouTuber and you can slow down their video and follow along with what they're saying. Mimic their intonation, mimic their pronunciation, and pay particular attention to the shape of their mouth. So try this several times using the same video. Start with a very slow speed and then gradually increase the speed each time you try until it sounds natural to you. To summarize, just talk. Use the things that you've learned in your more formal studies and just speak. Use them to speak. And regardless of if you're talking to yourself or with someone else, the most important thing is to just relax and have fun with it. Don't worry about being perfect. Now go out there and talk to yourself in Korean. Bye-bye.